In this tutorial, we're going to learn to knit this spiral scarf. And if you'd like your own copy of the pattern, you can visit the link I've given you in the video description just below the video. That will take you to my website. This is a traditional scarf shape, and you'll sometimes see it called a ruffle scarf or a potato chip scarf because you can't knit just one, I guess is the joke there. I've designed this one specifically to really show off a pretty yarn. We have really broad spirals, and we use garter stitch, which is my new favorite old stitch, and we're using short rows, wraps and turns, and picking up wraps to keep the fabric really smooth. Now when I say a pretty yarn, I'm using, or when I knit this, I used Hazel Knits DK Lively yarn, and this color is called Vamp, and I love it. It's a beautiful yarn. You use one hank of yarn, and this is, I really encourage you to use a luxury yarn for this because it's just one hank. Not only will it make a lovely scarf to give as a Christmas gift or something else, but you're going to love the experience of knitting something when it's so pretty the whole time you're working on it. Now this is a pretty simple pattern to memorize. We're going to go through the entire pattern repeat coming up next in the next part. Okay, if you have your free copy of the pattern and your beautiful yarn and your size 7 needles, we're ready to go. Let's take a look first at what the shape of the scarf ultimately looks like. Okay, I'm undoing these spirals here to show you, this being a cast-on row, and we work around like this with a lot more stitches on the outside of the work than the inside, or the left side, the right side, however you want to look at it. And that's because we're doing short rows. And it's interesting. We were just playing with this. If you unroll the spiral, you can end up with this donut shaped, or you can twist it up into the spiral shape as I was wearing it, or you can just wear it as a ruffle scarf like that. Okay. I'm going to use big needles and chunky yarn to demonstrate this, as I usually do. And the pattern tells you to cast on 16 stitches and knit back across those stitches. And this is where we're ready to go. And I'll tell you, I actually knit this scarf on double pointed needles, not because you need the double points, but just because I like to use the shortest needles possible. And I didn't want a cord flopping around or anything. Whoops, I'm starting on the wrong end. There's a danger of double-pointed needles. I almost knit with my tail. Okay, row 1 has me knitting across 12 stitches. Okay. So you knit across 12 stitches. You have not knit across all 16 stitches. We're going to wrap the 13th stitch. To do that, I'm going to pull my working yarn forward between the two needles, slip the stitch from the left needle to the right, pull the yarn back between the two needles, and slide that stitch back over to the left needle. Don't worry, we're going to do this plenty more times. Now I turn my work. Okay, I was like this. Swap the needles in your hands so that you have 4 stitches over here on the right needle. Pull the yarn back between the two needles to knit. And what we just did there was a short row wrap and turn. Okay, that was row 1, and row 2 just had us knitting back across those 12 stitches. Row 3, we're going to knit across 10 stitches. And we're going to do another wrap and turn. I need to free up some more yarn. Okay, another wrap and turn. Pull the yarn forward between the two needles, slip the stitch as if to purl. Always put your needle in as if to purl. Slip that stitch from the left needle to the right, pull the yarn back between the two needles, slip that stitch back over to the left needle, and turn your work. Okay, and then I'm going to knit back across those stitches. Okay, so we wrapped after 12 stitches, we wrapped after 10 stitches. On this row, I'm going to wrap after 8 stitches. Pull the yarn forward between the two needles, slip the stitch from the left needle to the right, pull the yarn back between the two needles, slip that stitch from the right to the left, and turn your work. And then knit back across those 8 stitches. Okay, that was 8. Now we're going to knit 6 and wrap and turn. See all the practice you're getting with wrapping and turning? Forward between the two needles, slip that stitch, back between the two needles, slip it back, turn the work. Okay, and this is the last short row. It's going to be knitting 4. Okay. Now we've wrapped stitch 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. This row, we finished the short rows. You can see this is already taking shape. It's much shorter over here than it is over here. This row we're going to pick up the wraps and knit them together with the stitch as we knit across. So I'll knit the first 4 because my first wrap is at stitch 5. Okay, and picking these up makes the work look really neat and tidy. And so it's worth the extra work. There's my stitch. The wrap is kind of around the neck of the stitch right here. It's the horizontal bar right there. And if you have nice sharp needles for this, it does make it easier. So you pick up that wrap and you put it up on the needle with the stitch. Don't worry, we have plenty more of these to do, so you'll get a good look at it again. Then I'm going to knit those two together, and that was a successfully picked up wrap. Okay, I knit one more because the next wrap is here. There's the little horizontal bar. You can't miss it. It's the thing right under the stitch, running kind of the wrong direction. Pick that up and put it up on the needle with the stitch. Knit those two together. Oops, I'm splitting the stitch. This is pretty tight right here with knitting them together, so I just use the tip of the needles to do it. And then knit one more to come to the next wrap stitch. Pick up that wrap, up on the needle with the stitch, knit them together. Oops. Hold on, I'm getting confused. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9. I do need to knit one stitch. I couldn't see the wrap and I was wondering what happened to the wrap because it's here. Okay, knit one stitch and this will be the last wrap. Up on the needle. And you see when I said this, knitting these two together is pretty tight, I'm just sticking with the tips of the needle here because it is kind of hard to shove that through both, but it works out fine. And then to finish the pattern repeat, I'm just going to knit back across, knit back across all these stitches. And you can see the shape that we're getting here. Now, the last important thing I need to tell you is the only real mistake that you can make while you're knitting this is to forget which way you're going and to start to do the right side work on the wrong side. I consider this the right side with the longer edge over here on the right and the shorter edge over here on the left. If you accidentally skip the last row of the pattern repeat and start working the short rows from this side, your scarf will end up being perfectly straight and not spiral because you're compensating, kind of putting pie pieces together and compensating for the curve each time. So make sure that you're always starting the short rows from the long side of the work. If you're following the pattern and keeping track of your rows, that shouldn't be a problem. So I hope you find yourself a really pretty yarn to do this with and you make a lot of them for Christmas gifts. Good luck.